Hello, friends. Wherever you're listening from, whether it's a quiet evening in your apartment, a late night drive, or a walk through your favorite park, thank you for being here. Tonight, I want to tell you a story. It's not a tale of heroes and villains. There's no clear ending, no perfect closure. It's a story about trust and what happens when it breaks, about love, betrayal, and the things we do when our hearts are shattered. My name is Daniel Carter. And once upon a time, I believed I had the perfect life. A beautiful wife, two amazing kids, a best friend who felt like a brother. We laughed, we built dreams, we hosted summer barbecues. But sometimes, the people you love most are the ones holding the knife. And when the truth comes out, when everything you trusted is a lie, you have two choices: fall apart or burn with it. I used to think betrayal was something that happened to other people. You know, the kind of thing you hear in whispers at a dinner party or glimpse in a bland TV movie. But when it comes into your life, it doesn't come with dramatic music or warning signs. It starts with a whisper in the dark. My name is Daniel Carter, and I used to trust two people more than anyone else on earth: my wife Lisa and my best friend Mark. For a long time, everything seemed normal. We lived in a quiet neighborhood, had two kids, weekly barbecues, and wine-swilling evenings on the porch. I thought we were rock solid. But it's funny how sometimes reality taps you on the shoulder so gently that you almost miss it. And then it punches you in the gut. It all started on a Tuesday evening. I got home from work earlier than expected. Usually Lisa would fold laundry with a light humor in the background. But that day the house was quiet. I walked into the kitchen, and there she was, standing with her back to me, whispering into the phone, her voice low and hurried. When she noticed me, she flinched as if I'd caught her doing something embarrassing. Her cheeks flushed as she quickly ended the call. "Just a work friend," she mumbled, forcing a smile. "A big crisis at the company." I wanted to believe her. I really did. Lisa had always been the helpful one, the good Samaritan in every circle. But there was something in her eyes that night, something I couldn't help but see. It wasn't fear, it was guilt. Still, I pushed the thought aside. I told myself I was being paranoid. But that night, as we sat across from each other at dinner, the silence between us spoke louder than words. Something had changed. Days passed, but my restlessness grew. The whispers, the late nights, the excuses. Until one Saturday, while searching the laundry basket for my workout clothes, I found something that made my blood run cold. A used condom wrapper buried in Lisa's jeans. Let me be clear. Lisa and I weren't using protection. She was on the pill. That condom had no reason to be there. I stood in the bathroom, clutching that stupid piece of plastic, staring at my reflection like a ghost. My heart pounded. That was the moment the curtain fell. No more denial, no more hoping I was wrong. I didn't confront her, not yet, because I needed to know the truth, all the truth, not just guesses. I needed the truth. Because if I was going to see my world fall apart, I wanted to know exactly who was knocking down the wall. And so began a slow, soul-crushing marriage and a friendship. After that night in the bathroom, everything looked different. The way Lisa smiled, the way her phone seemed to vibrate more often, the sudden plans she made, the laughter that didn't quite reach her eyes. I began to see not just a wife, but a stranger wearing her face. Still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because in betrayal, there's something worse than the act itself. It's the silence, the waiting, the not knowing. And I needed to know all of it with certainty, with evidence. I started paying attention, little things, receipts left in coat pockets, the soft clink of her keys when she tiptoed in late. I wasn't proud of it, but I started checking her call logs. Most were innocuous, until one number kept showing up, at odd hours, repeatedly. It belonged to Mark, my best friend, the same Mark who had stood beside me at my wedding, the man who toasted our love, who helped build my kids' treehouse, who was family and everything but blood. I felt sick. At first, I told myself it couldn't be. Lisa and Mark? They'd always joked like siblings. That kind of warmth, nothing more. But denial is a fragile armor, and when it cracks, the truth pours in like acid. It was a cold Saturday morning when everything changed. I was pacing the living room, wrestling with my next move, when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find someone I hadn't expected. Mark's wife, Clara. Clara was the kind of woman who always looked composed, even when furious. And that morning her green eyes burned with quiet rage. She didn't wait for an invitation, just walked right in and dropped a manila envelope on my table. "Daniel," she said, her voice sharp, "don't bother lying. I know Lisa's sleeping with my husband." The air left my lungs. Clara had already known. For how long? She opened the envelope and scattered photos on the coffee table, like a magician revealing a trick. There they were, Lisa and Mark, checking into a roadside motel, walking out hours later, smug, untouchable, lovers pretending to be ghosts, time-stamped, clear as day. "My father left me a small inheritance," Clara said coldly. "I spent most of it on a private investigator, worth every penny." I stared at the images, my heart pounding like a drum inside my ribcage. All the doubts, the late nights, the gut instincts, confirmed in glossy, undeniable print. And Clara? She didn't cry. She didn't rage. She was calm, dangerously calm. "I'm not here for sympathy," she said, folding her arms. "I'm here because I have a plan, and I think you deserve to hear it." That was the moment I realized, if Lisa and Mark were monsters in this story, Clara might just be something worse. She wasn't broken. She was calculating, and she was about to drag me into something far darker than heartbreak. Clara leaned in, her voice low and smooth like a blade sliding from its sheath. "If they're going to turn us into fools," she said, "then let's show them how it feels to be betrayed." I didn't respond right away. My hands were cold, my thoughts hot, blistering with fury. The photographs of Lisa and Mark were still on the table between us, their smiling faces frozen in betrayal. "What do you mean?" I finally asked, though a part of me already knew. Clara didn't blink. "I mean you and I, you and me, Daniel. We give them a taste of their own medicine." The air between us thickened. "You're suggesting we, what, sleep together? Out of revenge?" She tilted her head. "Exactly. Call it balance. Call it justice. Hell, call it survival. But it's time they see that they're not untouchable." It was insane, immoral, everything I'd never imagined myself doing. But betrayal changes people. You stop thinking about right and wrong. You start thinking about how much it hurts and how much you want the people who cause that pain to feel it too. I didn't say yes that day. I didn't say no either. But Clara could already read the storm inside me. She smiled faintly, stood up, and left her card on my table, as if we were discussing a business deal. 2 days later, Lisa claimed she had to work late. I knew better. I could see the lies leaking from the corners of her eyes, and somehow I didn't feel like chasing anymore. I felt like letting go. That night, Clara showed up again. She wore a dark blouse, tight enough to whisper intention, loose enough to excuse it. Her hair was pinned back, her eyes calm and sharp. "Still thinking?" she asked. I nodded once, slowly. "Thinking's overrated." There was no music, no romance. It happened in the kitchen of all places. One moment we were standing, the next her hands were on my chest, and mine were tangled in her hair. It wasn't love, it wasn't healing. It was two people bleeding in the same room, trying to pour their wounds into each other. We didn't talk afterward, just silence and heavy breaths. I remember staring at the ceiling, thinking how strange it was that revenge could feel so empty. And yet, we did it again, and again. It became a rhythm, our secret retaliation, our twisted coping mechanism. While Lisa and Mark crept through motel doors, Claire and I burned through each other in hidden corners of my house, of cheap hotels, of parking lots just far enough from home. Some nights I felt powerful, others disgusted, but always, I felt like I had taken back control. Little did I know, I wasn't in control at all. We were all falling, just at different speeds in different directions, and the ground was coming fast. Revenge, once started, doesn't slow down. It feeds on itself, demanding more proof, more pain, more control. After our first night together, Claire and I slipped into a strange rhythm. A rhythm built not on affection, but calculation. We weren't lovers. We were co-conspirators. When we weren't tangled in each other, we were tracking them. Clara was frighteningly resourceful. One evening she brought over a tiny voice recorder, no bigger than a thumb drive. "I found it online," she said flatly. "You can tap the home phone with this. It records everything." I hesitated. "Isn't that illegal?" She looked me dead in the eyes. "So is adultery," but that never stopped them. And so I gave in. Again. We installed the device on our landline. Clara also showed me how to set up motion detection cameras in my own house, aimed not at the front door, but at the driveway. She hacked Mark's email using a password reset trick involving his dog's name. The woman was terrifying, a one-woman spy agency fueled by pure vengeance. I wish I could say I felt guilty, but when you've been lied to, when your home becomes a stage for someone else's secret show, you stop feeling like the villain. You become the audience, demanding your turn at the script. Late at night, I'd sit in the basement with the recorder, headphones tight, heart pounding. Most nights it was just static, or a telemarketer's droning voice, until it wasn't, until I heard Lisa's voice, soft and sultry. "I miss you, baby," she whispered. "Can we meet again soon?" Then Mark's unmistakable voice replied, "Marriott on Jefferson, room 402, tomorrow. You know I'm always ready for you." My blood turned to ice. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, listening to the woman I married offer herself to my best friend, like it was nothing. Like our years, our children, our life, were all background noise to their little drama. I played it for Clara the next day, her lips curled in a bitter smile. "He's been telling me he pays for the rooms, that it's his treat." She rolled her eyes. "Funny, he's been draining our joint savings. My inheritance, Daniel." A pause, then her eyes narrowed. "You know what this means?" I nodded slowly. "They're getting reckless." "Exactly," she said. "And when people get reckless, they get caught." But Clara wasn't done. Her mind had shifted again, not just to exposure, but to escalation. She leaned in, her voice calm but venomous. "Let's keep meeting in motels. Let them wonder why we're so calm. Let them feel that crack in their reality grow wider." And so we did. While they played their lover's game, we stalked them from the shadows, recording, gathering, preparing. We weren't just keeping score anymore. We were writing the final act. There's a point in every revenge story when the game stops being thrilling. When the pain, the power, the planning, it all caves in, swallowed by something darker. For Clara, that moment came on a rainy Thursday night. The doorbell rang just after sunset. I opened it to find her drenched, mascara smeared, hair tangled, bruises blooming on her cheek like poison petals. "He hit me," she said flatly, stepping inside. The words echoed in my hallway like a gunshot. "Mark?" I asked, stunned. She nodded. Her voice trembled now, unraveling. "He confronted me, accused me of cheating. I told him he had no right. That's when he slapped me." I led her to the couch, unsure whether to comfort or crumble. Her hands clutched her coat tighter. "I didn't even know," she whispered. "I'd been feeling sick, so I went to the doctor this morning. I was pregnant, Daniel, and now I'm not." Silence. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. "Wait, are you saying—" "Yes," she cut in, looking away. "It was yours." A million things screamed in my head. Shame, horror, guilt, and something else I didn't want to admit. Grief. A child, not planned, not wanted, but real, and gone. Clara didn't cry the way I thought she would. Her tears were few. Her voice didn't rise. But her eyes, they were wild, distant. "I didn't want a baby," she murmured almost to herself. "But it was mine, and he took it." I knelt beside her, not sure if I was comforting a woman or a ticking time bomb. Then her gaze locked onto mine. "Daniel, do you know what the worst part is?" I shook my head, my throat tight. "I only let myself carry that child because I wanted to hurt him, because I wanted to prove that his wife preferred you, that you were better than he ever was." And now I can't even hold on to that. She paused, her expression hardening into something cold. I hate him, Daniel. I hate Lisa too. But mostly I hate myself. And suddenly I understood something horrifying. This was no longer just about revenge. This was grief weaponized, sorrow twisting itself into rage. I want to end this, I whispered. Clara blinked slowly. End what? This, whatever we're doing. The lying, the burning. We're not winning. We're just getting consumed. She stared at me, stunned. Then her face contorted with fury. Oh no, Daniel. You don't get to back out now. Her voice was sharp enough to cut skin. You helped build this fire. You don't get to walk away because the heat's too much. She stood trembling, fury radiating from every inch of her. I want them to suffer, and you're going to help me. I saw it then, clearer than ever. Clara wasn't healing. She was unraveling, and I was still holding the other end of the thread. The plan was Clara's, of course. Cold, precise, and timed to the second. They're meeting at the motel tomorrow, she said, sliding a folded receipt across my kitchen counter. Room 210, check in at noon. How do you know? She didn't even blink. I lifted the key card from Mark's coat pocket while he was in the shower. Guess how I found out he was going? He bragged about being booked for work. Her mouth twisted with bitter amusement. I should have said no, should have walked away. But something inside me had broken too long ago to be pieced back together by reason. And so just before noon the next day, I left work early and drove to that grimy motel by the interstate. Clara was already waiting in the lot, sunglasses on, jaw tight. You ready? She asked, not looking at me. Number. But I nodded. The clerk at the front desk took one look at our faces and didn't ask a single question. We climbed the stairs slowly, each step echoing like a drum beat in my chest. Clara's hand gripped the key card like a trigger. Room 210. We stopped. She slid the card. The light blinked green. She flung the door open, and there they were. Lisa was in the middle of pulling her shirt back on, face frozen in shock. Mark jumped off the bed, half-dressed, panic etched across his face. What the hell? Lisa gasped. Clara's laugh was sharp and cold. Surprise, Mark stammered. Clara, this isn't what it looks like. Shut up, she snapped. Save it. I know exactly what it looks like. I've known for months. Lisa looked at me wide-eyed. Daniel, I raised a hand. Just don't. Mark took a step toward me. Listen, man. No, I growled. You don't get to man me. You don't speak to me. Clara stepped forward, voice trembling with fury. Tell her, Mark. Tell Lisa what you did. Tell her about the slap. About the baby. Lisa blinked. Slap? What baby? Clara's voice cracked. I was pregnant. Your boyfriend hit me, and I lost it. The room fell into a stunned silence. Lisa turned to Mark, face pale. Is that true? Mark shook his head wildly. She's lying. Clara didn't hesitate. She reached into her purse, pulled out a small silver handgun, and aimed it straight at him. I froze. Everyone did. Clara, I shouted. I'm not going to kill him, she hissed. But I swear, if he takes one more step toward me... The barrel trembled in her grip. Lisa dropped to her knees, sobbing. Mark's face was pale, arms raised. And I stood there watching the destruction we'd all built, brick by brick, now blazing. And then Lisa said it, the final nail in our coffin. I'm pregnant, she whispered, and I don't know who the father is. The world tilted. The silence was deafening. That was the moment I knew. There was no fixing this, only fallout. There's a moment in every tragedy when reason steps out and chaos walks in like it owns the place. For us, it came right after Lisa dropped her final bombshell. I'm pregnant, and I don't know whose it is. Clara went still. Mark turned pale. I felt something inside me fracture. You've got to be kidding me, I said, my voice low, almost calm. You don't know? Lisa, eyes red, nodded slowly. It might be yours, it might be Mark's. I don't know. Mark recoiled. Wait, you said you ended things with me? Lisa rounded on him. I tried. You wouldn't stop. You kept calling. You kept saying all the right things. I was weak, okay? Clara let out a short, bitter laugh. You ended it, but not really. And now we have a surprise baby from the Betrayal Express. How poetic. I took a step back, trying to breathe, but the walls were closing in. The heat, the tension, it all snapped in my chest. Mark turned to me, deflecting. Come on, Daniel. You think you're innocent here? You've been screwing my wife. I didn't reply. I just hit him. A clean punch to the jaw. I don't even remember deciding to throw it. My body just moved. He staggered, then charged. We collided like freight trains. Fists, elbows, fury. Lisa screamed. Clara stood motionless, gun still in hand, watching like a director on the edge of a breakdown. We hit the ground, rolled across the dirty motel carpet. He got a hit on my ribs. I got one near his eye. The rage had taken over. All the pain, the months of humiliation, betrayal, guilt. It poured out of me through my fists. Finally, I landed on top, slamming his head against the floor once, twice. Daniel, Lisa cried. You'll kill him. Her voice broke through the storm. I froze. Mark went limp beneath me, blood trailing from his lip. I pushed off him, gasping, chest heaving. And then Clara moved, not toward me, not toward Lisa, but toward Mark. She raised the gun. Apologize, she said. On your knees. He groaned, coughing. What? You hit me, she snapped. You cost me my baby. I didn't. Now! Terrified, Mark dropped to his knees, hands raised. I'm sorry, he choked. But Clara wasn't satisfied. She turned to Lisa. Your turn. Lisa backed away, trembling. You're insane. Clara cocked the gun. The sound echoed like death. Lisa dropped to her knees, too. The room fell into absolute silence. Tears streamed down Clara's face as she stared at the two people who'd wrecked her life. Her voice broke. I hate you both. You broke me. You killed what little I had left. Then she turned the barrel on me. I froze. Get out. I held up my hands. Clara, don't leave. So we left. We stumbled out into the hallway, silent, dazed, broken. And somewhere behind us, Clara screamed. No gunshot followed, just silence. We stood in the motel parking lot under a pale afternoon sun. 4 people who had once laughed together, shared holidays, toasted New Year's. Now we looked like survivors pulled from the wreckage of a plane crash, battered, bruised, and irreparably broken. No one spoke. Lisa had tears streak down her cheeks. Mark clutched his jaw, blood drying near his temple. I felt nothing, just a dull, echoing void. And inside that room, Clara, the girl with the gun. She's not okay, Lisa finally whispered. She could hurt herself. Mark shook his head. She's lost it. We should just leave before this gets worse. I turned to him slowly, jaw tight. She lost a baby, Mark. A baby that was mine. Because you hit her. I didn't, he started. I cut him off with a look that could have burned through steel. Don't lie again. Then I took out my phone and made the only decent decision any of us had made in months. I called the police. I think there's a woman in room 210 who might harm herself. She has a weapon. Please hurry. And then we waited. The sirens came fast, blaring, urgent. Within minutes, squad cars filled the parking lot. Officers rushed up the stairs, guns drawn. For one terrifying second, I thought we'd hear the shot, the one that would mark the end. But we didn't. They came out minutes later, Clara between them, hands cuffed behind her back. No screaming, no resistance, just silence. Her eyes were distant, empty. She didn't look at us. They led her to the back of a squad car as an ambulance pulled up behind them. Psychiatric evaluation, standard procedure. She sat inside that car, shoulders trembling, hair wild, like some ancient goddess of wrath finally spent. Not a villain, not a hero, just collateral damage. A female officer approached us. You 3 know her? Lisa nodded through tears. I gave a vague version of the story. Unstable emotional state, fear for her safety, concern over her mental health. I didn't mention the affair, the fights, the blood. Shame makes you rewrite the truth in softer ink. The officer nodded. We'll need full statements later. For now, go home. Home. What a strange word. As we turned to leave, Lisa reached for my arm. Daniel, please, we can still fix this. Maybe the baby's yours. Maybe we can... I pulled away gently. You think a baby can erase all this? Her lip quivered. I deserve your hatred. I didn't answer. Mark just stared at the pavement, saying nothing, his mouth swollen from our fight. And Clara? She sat behind the tinted window of the cruiser, still not looking at any of us. She was gone. Taken, not just by the police, but by the grief we'd all helped create. As the squad car pulled away, a strange stillness fell over us. There were no words left to say, just silence, guilt, and the crushing knowledge that no one wins in a story like this. No closure, no healing, only ruin. And so we walked away, 3 shadows limping into the twilight, leaving the wreckage behind us, but never truly escaping it. It's been 6 months. The motel room is long cleaned. The bruises have faded. Clara's been through court-mandated therapy. She's out now, living with her sister in Oregon. I haven't spoken to her since the night they took her away. Mark filed for divorce quietly. Clara didn't fight it. She didn't want anything. Not the house, not the car, not even a goodbye. Lisa and I, we tried, for a time. She wanted redemption. She offered tears, therapy sessions, honesty. But once the trust is gone, all that's left is shadow play. 2 people pretending to be what they once were, hoping memory can stitch what reality has torn. It didn't work. I moved out 3 months ago, found a small apartment near the river, the kind of place where silence doesn't echo so loud, because it was never full to begin with. Lisa still messages me sometimes. Updates about the baby. Yes, there's still that. The baby, we got the paternity results. It's mine. Funny how that single truth didn't feel like salvation. Just gravity, a new responsibility carved out of ruins. I'll be there for the child, not because it's some movie ending, not because we made it through, but because you don't abandon what's yours, even if it was born of something broken. As for Mark, I haven't seen him since the fight. Sometimes when I pass by that old sports bar we used to frequent, I wonder if he's inside, telling some stranger his version of the story. Maybe I'm the villain in his retelling. That's fine. In some chapters, I probably was. And Clara, sometimes late at night, I replay her voice in my head. Not the screaming, not the rage, just that quiet moment when she whispered, I only let myself carry that child to hurt him. She was hurting, and so was I. And when pain meets pain, it doesn't heal, it burns. There are no heroes in this story, only lessons. We hurt each other when we're too afraid to face ourselves. We cheat when we think we deserve more. We seek revenge thinking it will cleanse, but it only stains deeper. And sometimes the people who destroy you are the very ones you trusted most.